Hello everybody, welcome back to another election prediction video. In this video, we're going to be covering if Kamala Harris picks Mark Kelly as her VP pick. So I'm going to be probably doing a video on each VP contender for a bit here, just to try to get them out before Harris actually picks the VP. I might release them on a shorter schedule. So again, I think Mark Kelly has his benefits. He'll definitely help Harris in Arizona, probably help her in neighboring Nevada as well, and probably help her in suburbs. Again, she has to pick a white male to really balance out the ticket here. I don't think America would vote for a double woman ticket, so if she picks Whitmer, I think it's kind of tough to see America willing to be open to voting for two women on the same ticket. I don't think that could happen yet. But I think she has to pick a white male for her VP pick. So let's just get right into it. Starting off with the first few states, Alaska would probably be over 10, same with Iowa and Ohio. Those are just kind of off the board for Democrats at this point, especially with Trump picking Vance as his VP. I think that this kind of secures Ohio as a safe red state. But Harris really wasn't going to contest that state anyway. Going down to Texas and Florida, I would probably put these both at about likely are. Again, Florida just kind of makes sense as a likely Republican state, but with Harris as a candidate, it's for sure going to be below 10 this time. Now that Biden's gone, that age issue is now shifted on towards Trump, and I think Harris is going to out-campaign Trump on the campaign trail. I think she's going to do a lot more rallies than he can. Again, it's just due to his age. He's very old. So you can't go on the campaign trail like he used to back in 2020. So it's going to be likely Republican in Florida and likely Republican in Texas. But let's keep on moving. Colorado is just safe blue. New Mexico and Virginia, these states are kind of off the board for Donald Trump at this point. I think you kind of have to be kind of delusional to think Virginia could even go to Trump against Harris. You have to be delusional. There's just no way. She's doing way better with black voters, pretty much across the board better with independents, and just way better with her base overall. So she's going to win Virginia by over 5. Same with New Mexico. She's going to win it probably by, I think Virginia and New Mexico probably goes to Harris by about 8% each. Kind of makes sense at this point. Again, some polls suggest that Trump's doing really well with Latinos. Like the CNN poll said, Harris only has a 2-point lead Latinos, and then the New York Times poll says she's winning them by 20. So I think the best way to approach that is just average them out. So maybe Democrats are winning them by about 12 or something like that. But I think that kind of makes sense. So let's keep on going. So Maine and New Hampshire, new polls have came out showing these states are pretty much out of reach for the Trump campaign. Harris is up by about 6 or 7 in New Hampshire. In Maine, she's up by 8. And with ranked choice voting implemented, she's up by 9. So we have a real discussion to make about Maine's second. I don't think it's safe red anymore. I think with those numbers, it's going into likely Republican territory. So that's extremely good for Jared Golden, and that's why I'm very bullish on his chances here in Maine's second. I think he's probably still the favorite here, and especially with Harris doing a lot better in Maine than Biden, Golden has a pretty good chance at winning for the House election. Going into Nebraska second, I think she's also going to do better than Biden here in future polls, and that's pretty bad for Don Bacon's chances. Nebraska second could even go to likely blue. And honestly, with Kelly on the ticket, I could honestly see Mark Kelly helping her out in the suburban region. So I think Nebraska second will go to Harris by over 5 with the VP pick of Mark Kelly. So let's keep on going through the map. I think we could go with Minnesota next. Recent poll, Survey USA had her up by 10 here. Fox News poll had her up by 6. And I think that's pretty firmly in the likely blue camp at this point. I think Minnesota's off the board for Trump as well. So we already have Harris's floor set up, which is 226. So let's keep on going through this map. I think we could start with Arizona. So again, when you pick a VP candidate, it usually gives you a boost by 2% in that state. And Mark Kelly's a very well-liked senator for the state of Arizona. So I think this would be enough to tip it over to a tilt-blue state, which would be pretty good for Harris's chances of winning the state of Arizona. Gives her more pathways to win. Nevada, I do think Kelly being from the neighboring state of Arizona will help her out a bit in the state of Nevada. But I just think with Trump's no taxes on tips policy, that'll probably be just enough to tilt it over into the Republican column, but only narrowly. It's going to be a very close battle here if she picks Mark Kelly. And so far, that looks like the most likely thing she's going to pick is Mark Kelly. I think it'll, at the end of the day, well, that's what the betting markets say. At the end of the day, I think she's going to pick Josh Shapiro. I think that's the most likely pick. Because, again, Pennsylvania is one of the most important states to win here. Usually it's the most likely going to be the tipping point state for the election. So let's go on with the next few states. North Carolina and Georgia. Harris is going to get extremely high black turnout. An A-plus pollster only has Harris down by 1 in the state of Georgia. So it also has her winning independents, too. So with a lot of momentum going behind her campaign and with a good, solid VP pick here, I think she's going to be able to narrowly win Georgia here with very high black turnout. And I also think North Carolina is going to be quite competitive with the high black turnout. Again, when you run a black candidate at the top of the ticket, you're going to get very high black turnout like we saw with Obama. And voters are energized. I haven't seen voters on the Democratic side as energized behind a candidate since Obama. Like, Biden didn't have that much energy in terms of energizing the base. Hillary, she didn't energize the base either. So we're seeing a lot of energy behind the Harris campaign. She broke a fundraising record. $81 million in small donors in 24 hours. So you got to give it to her. But I still think North Carolina's tilt her. It just depends. She needs to pick Cooper to really win the state of North Carolina, honestly. It's always just so close for Democrats. They're even leading the polls back in 2020, and they still lose the state. So you need some sort of VP advantage here to really win this as a Democrat at this point. So now we're down to the 3 states, 3 blue wall states that probably will decide the election. And I think Harris is very favored in the state of Michigan. I think it's the most likely state of the Rust Belt that she would win just because, again, Detroit, that's the biggest city in Michigan. And that's what you need to win. You need good turnout there. And I think she would get very good African-American turnout in Michigan in general. And I think that'll be enough to tip it over into a lean blue state. So I'm very confident on Harris's chances in the state of Michigan, which is why it's not tilt blue. I think she'll get really good black turnout here in this state. And she'll win over independents as well, which is what you need to win in the state of Michigan. So now we're down to Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Wisconsin, it's a more of a rural state. Again, Mark Kelly isn't from the Rust Belt, so that wouldn't help Harris out or give her any advantage, which is why I have this as a tilt Republican state. But Pennsylvania, on the other hand, there's a lot more black voters in this state. It's a lot more urban in terms of voters as well. I think Mark Kelly being on the ticket, it would help her out in the suburbs a bit in most states here. But I think it's only a tilt blue state, but I think she'll be able to manage to win this state with a good VP pick like Mark Kelly. So overall, Harris 287, Trump 251. We're seeing a Harris surge in the polls lately. I don't think that's showing any signs of stopping. The DNC convention didn't even happen yet, and she's already neck and neck with Trump, or sometimes even leading against Trump in a few swing states. So at this point, I kind of think this is what the map would be if she were to pick Mark Kelly. But let me know about this prediction down in the comments below. Let me know what states you agree or disagree on. I'm always interested in hearing your feedback. And if you're new to this channel, I would highly recommend subscribing if you enjoy content like this. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.